Hi, this is Tamika with Pastries, Pumps, and Pie, and I'm here with a card making video for you today. I am going to be using the latest Planners Anonymous kit, the Hygge Life kit, both the physical kit and the digital creative kit to create this card. So let's talk about what my Cricut program did to me. So I was trying to put together all of my stuff on the Cricut Design Space for this using the digital creative kit. And I put together the inside portion of my card. I made this matte piece that would go on the outside of the card. So what I did, and you may not be able to tell here, but I took several of the floral elements. So if you look at this section here, I took that section, repeated it over here, added in some more florals here, two of the proteas, some of these filler pieces here, and then I added in a little bit more greenery also. What Cricut Design Space did to me was it didn't save my project. So I couldn't go in and recreate it and show you what I actually did on my Cricut Design Space. So I'd already printed this out, and now I can't even get the Cricut to cut it because it didn't save the project. So the lesson learned, continuously save as I go. But yeah. And then my printer was not playing nice either. And so when I printed this, it didn't print. I wanted to use a pink card base. Now, I could have used paper from the kit. The only thing about the paper from the kit, it's double-sided. So yes, there are some sides that have the pink, but the other side would have been a printed side. So I used the digital papers to print this. Two things went wrong with my printer. It printed some yellow crazy line along everything, so I had to cut around that, which changed the size of my card base. Yeah, so you can kind of see the little yellow line there. Don't know why my printer did that at all. So my card base is a little smaller than what I anticipated. So the problem with that now is that I'd already kind of sized these things. This one would be pretty easy to cut down, but this one not so much because it was centered. So I'm going to have to work around all of that to get these measurements to fit the way that I want them to. So what I'm going to need to do with this one is I'm going to need to cut it down a little bit. It was originally going to be 5 1/4 by 4, but now that is the measurement of the base. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this down actually to what, 5 by 3 1/4, which is really going to throw off this piece here. And this piece, considering what I plan to do with it, needed to be precise with the measurements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to see if I can figure out how I'm going to really readjust the measurements on this piece to make sure that it comes out exactly the way that I want it to, and then we'll continue with putting this card together. Okay, I think I readjusted the measurements to get them where they're going to work for me. I'm going to go ahead and start by cutting out what I need from here. So I also have this piece as well, my matte piece, which is one of the other papers from the physical kit. So I only needed one side of the green, so I didn't mind using this piece from the actual physical kit. All right, so I'm going to put these pieces. These were going to be for my greeting at the top, and these pieces, I'm going to put these off to the side, and then we're going to handle this piece here. So I'm hoping I can get this cut as I need it. So I'm going to start by trying to cut in between these two pieces first, and kind of working from there. Now, one thing I know that I can see where this piece goes. So let me mark that lightly. Maybe that will help here. So I can see that it's kind of in there. And then over here, yeah, so I'm gonna use that as a guide, and I will need to trim it down some more. Because I am gonna need to do some adjusting there. Okay, so that cut pretty nicely. So this piece here needs to be, now it needs to be 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. So I think I want to chop it from this side. I think that's what I want to do. Okay, let's see if we can't line up this part here. Okay. So again, I want this 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. So there's 4 1/4 right there, which would chop off a little bit from this side, which is what I want to do. Okay. And then this part needs to be 3 1/2 now. Yes, 3 1/2. So put that there. Cut. All right. So again, this piece was created by taking a lot of the different floral pieces. So this protea, I put that in Cricut Design Space, duplicated and put that in there twice. This little cluster on each side over here, I put that in twice. There's a piece that goes all the way across the middle right here. And then I added those fillers in. So this piece is going to get cut down even more. So let me show you what I'm going to do with that. We are going to cut it at 1 inch. Then we are also going to cut it at 2 1/4 inches. So let me make sure this is my 4 1/4 like I need it to be. Yes. So we're going to cut off 1 inch. Then we're going to cut off at 2 1/4. So there's 2 and there's 2 1/4 there. And then we have these 3 pieces. Okay. Now we need to adjust this piece. So now this piece needs to be adjusted to 5 by 3 3/4. Yeah. So let me go ahead and just start by trimming this down, and then we'll go from there. So I've got that piece trimmed. Let's go ahead and trim it down over here. Okay, so I'm gonna trim it a little bit there as well. Okay, so now this is 5 by 3 3/4. So this would be 5, but my thing is I want it to still kind of be centered. I think that would look okay. I'm gonna go with it. It may not, our greeting in the middle may not be centered anymore, but that's, we're just gonna have to deal with that. All right, so again, that is 5 and this is going to be 3 3/4. So it would be here, which is cutting it close, which means I need to trim from this side some more. Let's do about, yeah, which means I might have to cut off the blanket. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut off the blanket. So I'm gonna trim it again right here. And I might be able to find a sticker of that blanket because, yeah, so this was the 5, and now I need 3 3/4. So it's gonna be here. Because if I cut right here, the blanket's gone. All right. And it's not as centered as it would have been. Okay. That looks crooked to me, but we're gonna work with it. So I'm going to go into my stickers. I'm going to go back into my stickers here from the kit and see if I can't find that blanket, because I wanted that little blanket in the corner there. So we're going to check. There it is. So there we go. I'm so happy I had a sticker like that. So I think now we can begin to assemble everything. So we're gonna have these pieces here. Here's the card base. This is for the sentiment, and that's to layer on the card base. So let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. So I'm gonna go here in the stamp set. And I am going to take the words warm and snuggles. And then I have, y'all know I like having scratch sheets when I do stamping. So here's a scratch sheet here that I've been using. And then we're going to put warm snuggles on the stamping block. All right, and then we're gonna practice this. Definitely gonna practice this. So I'm going to use this color from my Stampin' Up kit. It's called Blushing Bride, and I think that this kit might work a little well. So what you want to do when you first start using a stamp is either kind of brush along it on your hand to kind of get it to work right, or you can possibly just stamp it a few times and then that'll get it to working right. Let me see if I'm liking this color. I'm not really liking this color with this. Nope, so we're just gonna do black. I think that would be best. I have this green, but I don't know. Let's try this green and see if it's gonna work. I don't have a lot of ink colors. So if I stamp off first and then stamp it, that would work. All right, so we'll do the green. So let me just, this is called Mossy Meadow, this color here. And see how it looks when you stamp off? Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're gonna stamp off And then we're going to stamp on. So if you don't have a lot of colors, you can kind of create the color that you need by stamping over something or stamping off and then working with it that way. So now we're going to take this and we're going to glue it onto this piece. So let me move that out of the way. And I'm going to use my liquid glue. And this is a little die cut that I already had from one of my kits. And so I was like, you know what? Why not use it? Okay. All right. And there we go. So we have our sentiment ready to go for our card. Now we're going to put the top layer, and it's going to go here. I'm going to try to cover up as much of that yellow line as I can. I don't know why my printer did that. It could be that I am running out of ink, so that could be the problem. And so I need to double check that, because toner is pretty expensive, yes. I felt like this kit with all of those florals were screaming for a card. So we're just going to add this. I like using the liquid glue because you can kind of get a little bit of wiggle room before you finally adhere your card base. Okay, so that's down, and this again is going to go on the inside. Unfortunately, we had to cut off the printed blanket, but we had it as a sticker. So do you see the benefits of having a digital kit and the physical kit? I think it's awesome to have both. Soon I'm going to do a spread using the digital kit, like making and creating my own types of stickers and boxes. And can't wait to show you guys that. So now we're going to put this on the inside of our card. And again, we're going to try to cover as much of that stinking yellow line as we can. So there's the inside. All right, so it's looking good. It's looking good. I hate that that's no longer centered, but that's because this paper did not print right. I don't think it's ever going to print all the way to the edge. It printed with a margin, which threw off all my measurements. So what we're going to do with these pieces is we're going to adhere them onto this green piece. So I wanted to have the green and the pink to bring out both the green and the pink that is in the floral clusters here. So I'm going to start with the strip on the left. I'm going to place it down, and then I'm going to place this one down just to get an idea of my margin and how I want that to be. And I don't want to glue it down until I've decided that. So I can look at it and gauge, okay, this is how much margin I want, and then I can work from there. So now I'm going to take these two pieces off, and then I'm going to start with this piece. And we're going to add our glue to the back of that piece. And you want to keep in mind the amount of border that you want to have. Okay. Then instead of starting with the middle piece, you're going to do the piece on the right. That way you can make sure that other border is exactly where you want it as well. That's the key, because if not, you can easily mess up your spacing. Now, if you're not a person that's naturally good with that kind of thing, with spacing, then you don't want to try that middle piece second. You want to wait. So as you can see, I'm gauging what's going on over here to mimic it over here. All right, now it may not always be perfect. One thing you can do is, once you were like placing them out and getting an idea, you can do very light pencil marks, and that helps you determine where to place everything back on the paper. That is something I've done before. So that is something that you can do. You can put those little light pencil marks, and then you're gonna know, okay, I wanna place the first piece here, second piece here, and so forth. So that is a little tip if you really know you would have issues with the placement. Just put those really light pencil marks. All right. So I like the look of this. I like the look of, you know, it's cut apart, but it's still together kind of feel, kind of like a puzzle piece. I love that look. And isn't it looking really nice so far? All right, so now we just need to add our sentiment. Right, so now we have our sentiment that we're gonna add, and we're gonna add that right there. I kind of want to trim around this. I'm not the greatest person at cutting, but I think it's a little too wide. So let's pray about that. Let's pray that I can do this and it won't look too bad. So it's not super perfect, but it'll work. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take and put this on some dimensional foam pieces. Okay, and let's get my tool here. And we're gonna go ahead and add that right here. And then the finishing touch that we're gonna add to this card is going to be some embellishments that I got also in one of my Stampin' Up! Paper pumpkin kits. So I have these little iridescent pieces here. I thought the color went very well with this Planners Anonymous kit. So we're going to use these. They already have glue dots attached to them. I'm going to put one here on the sentiment. Put one there. Okay, and then we'll put one down here. All right. And there we have this beautiful card. I was so excited about making this. I made a card very similar for my brother and my sister-in-law for their wedding anniversary. And I just thought this would go very, very well with it. So, warm snuggles, and then home is not a place, it's a feeling. I think that works so well together. And let me tell you something that's hilarious. I went back on Instagram because I hadn't gotten my physical kit yet. And so I went back on Instagram to see what was in the stamp kit, and I was like, oh, there's the word snuggles and there's the word warm. I'm going to do warm snuggles. And so I started putting everything together, and I'm looking at the digital kit, and I'm like, I don't see that warm snuggles anywhere. Where is it? I know I've seen it. And then I had to remember it's on the stamps. So I went through the digital kit like 3 or 4 times trying to look for warm snuggles, and I couldn't find it. And then I remembered, no, silly, you saw it on the stamp. So there you have it. I think it's pretty. One other thing I think I'm going to add to this. So I have this Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen. I purchased these on Amazon. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the rose there. A little bit on that rose. Some right here. Let's put a little bit on here. Okay. And what it does is add a little bit of sparkle. So I want these florals to kind of stand out. And you don't have to put a whole bunch of this, okay? And I don't know how well it will pick it up on the camera, but it does give you a little bit of a sparkle to everything. All right, so that is it. This again is the latest Planners Anonymous kit, Hygge Life, and I will link in the description the actual measurements, not the readjusted ones, because like I said, I had to readjust mine because when I printed the pink paper, it didn't print it all the way to the edge of the paper. It printed a white margin. So I'll put the original measurements in case you want to create a card similar to this one. Okay, so then you can use whatever paper you have, and then you won't have to worry about that whole margin situation. But I will put all of that in the description below. I also encourage you, if you like this kit and you're interested in Planners Anonymous, head over to plannersanon.com, use my code pastries, and that will save you $10 off your very first subscription with Planners Anonymous. All right, tell me what you think in the description below. What do you think about the card layout? And what do you think about the florals of this kit? Go ahead and let me know, and you know what else to do. Be sure to slay, subscribe, like, and accept the alerts so you don't miss any videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.